Something about these protests in Iran, I don't know, man. I don't really know what to do with this stuff because something seems really, really off. If this is all about just one simple honor killing happening in the Middle East in an Islamic caliphate, I don't think something is off. Let's try and see what we can get from this, other than the fact that, oh yes, the very enlightened intelligentsia on social media saying that we should have human rights in the Middle East. Okay, trying to apply your values in a place where we've seen time and time again that they are fundamentally opposed to having those in their society, and they fail time and time again. That's why I'm approaching this very hesitantly, because if what's going to ultimately take down the Islamic regime in Iran is just one bitch ended up getting stoned to death, which is sad, I suppose, but why the fuck weren't you wearing your hijab out in public? Anyways, deadly protests continue for a 9th day Saturday across Iran as demonstrators have become increasingly frustrated with the government's response to the death of Masha Amini earlier this month. Again, this is, I don't know, this seems off. It seems off. Protesters have taken to the streets to voice their discontent with the Islamic Republic after a 22-year-old woman died while in police custody following reports of severe beatings and torture. Reports. So this is Iran's George Floyd moment. Interesting. As many as 35 people have been killed. Oh, what? They don't deserve to be detailed out? Interesting. Since the protests erupted last week, probably by the time that you're seeing this, I don't know, maybe the protests are over or everything's been quelled. But this is what we got so far. This is mostly just kind of a launching point onto what I want to talk about next. Reported Iranian news outlets late Friday. So you'll believe the news outlets that also operate under the Islamic Caliphate, but then at the same time, you only have reports about what happened to a lady in custody. Interesting. But there are no signs of the protests slowing down. I'd press X to doubt on that one. If Iran wants to fucking stop a protest, they'll stop a protest. With some taking to the streets Saturday in Shiraz, a city in the south-central Iran, chanting "Death to the dictator." Why, what do you want to return to the Shah of Iran? Which, again, there was a very flourishing community that was happening, okay? The country was definitely on the up and up, but let's not fucking mince words here. The Shah was also a dictator. He just wasn't religiously driven or propped up, however you want to take a look at it. So is that what you want to return to? Or do you want democracy like the rest of the world has? And be careful what you fucking wish for. Let's see if we can get just a little bit more. No, we're not going to. Footage taken from the city of Islamabad Garab in western Iran shows protesters standing on vehicles, while videos posted on social media in Tehran depicted aggressive demonstrations as protesters face off with Iranian security guards. It looks like they're winning because 35 of them have fucking bit the dust. But okay, you want to overthrow the dictator. Okay, cool. Laudable effort. Okay, if you guys are tired with the Islamic Republic, that's fine. That's cool. Wonderful. Fantastic. I would argue that you're probably a couple decades late. But hey, man, you got there on your own time, right? It's not like anything's really terribly improving. So what? You're looking around at the rest of the world and deciding that you want in on some of this shit? You wanna move, okay, from a republic, which is structured, has survived in some form or fashion, all over a bitch. It just looks like you guys are really simping super fucking hard. But let's say you guys end up ultimately getting your fucking coup that you so terribly desire, right? You want some of that good old Western-style democracy, right? You want some women in charge now. Well, let's take a look at what some of these women out here are doing. Let's take a look at our old gal, fucking Jacinda Ardern, giving her speech at the UN. Is this what Iran wants? I'm sure this is going to go over well. Disinformation should be controlled like guns, bombs, and nukes. Okay, cool. So overthrow a dictator so that you can install another dictator. Wow, imagine that. God, I fucking hate her. Yeah, Ardern called for more collective action. Again, women calling for collectivism. How fucking appropriate. Oh my god. It's almost like you elect women and this is what you get. Action to address to her UN General Assembly on Friday, especially on the issue of climate change, nuclear non-proliferation, pandemic response, and opposing wars of aggression such as Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Yeah, New Zealand had some of the most strictest fucking policies during the coup. So again, she wants her rule. She hates freedom of speech because that means freedom to criticize her and her tyranny. Oh, she's just the fucking worst. Ardern's authoritarian impulses were always on display in her call for tighter regulations on internet speech, although she insisted she values free speech. Again, just like I think Iran, just erupted in protest over the death of a 22-year-old lady in custody. I don't fucking buy it. Again, I watch what people do. I don't listen to what they say because more often than not, they're fucking lying, especially when they have a track record as long and deep as Ardern, and I'm not talking about her snatch, and merely wishes to cleanse disinformation from international discourse. Ardern portrayed the Chinese coronavirus pandemic, which New Zealand addressed with some of the heaviest lockdowns to be found outside of communist China. Oh yeah, they weren't, okay, they were just as bad, okay, because they locked people in their house, even though they have more sheep on that fucking set of islands than they actually do people, locked them down and defeated the coronavirus not once, twice, 3, maybe 4 times. Okay, she's a fucking world record holder when it comes to defeating the virus. But women did it better around the world, right? Oh, go fuck yourself. In a painful lesson that schooled mankind on the importance of collective action. Yes, of course, collectivism. That's always what I want to hear. And that always seems to be one of those guiding principles from wherever you find yourself with elected women in power. Boy, not saying that women can't be leaders. I've talked about Kari Lake being a great fucking gubernatorial candidate for Arizona because, again, your average person sucks. Fucking stupid. They think Marvel movies are peak cinema. If they even bother reading, they're up to date on the latest Song of Ice and Fire book and watch 7 to 8 hours of television a day. The average person fucking sucks. I'm looking for the exceptional people that are out there. Those are the type of people that'll either criticize or appreciate. Sometimes a mix of the both. And what I see with Jacinda Ardern is somebody who got a little bit of power and is just fucking exploiting it to the detriment of everybody else. But anyways, something about her speech. Oh no, this is about the pandemic specifically. It forced us to acknowledge how interconnected and therefore how reliant we are on one another. No, if you just would have stayed out of that shit, people would have been able to move about and take care of themselves. It's fucking weird. You forced them into this collectivism, you evil woman. We move between one another's countries. Oh, no. With increasing ease. You made it incredibly difficult. I'm not even sure right now if you can go to New Zealand without having to jump through thousands of fucking hoops. We trade our goods and services, and one link is our supply chain is impacted. We all are. Yeah, that's why you rely so much on the CCP, and that's why you have a lot of exclusive trade routes with them. Interesting. Ardern explicitly called for collectivist lessons of the pandemic to be applied to climate change. The next pandemic will not be prevented by one country's efforts, but all of ours. Yes, exactly. We're so interconnected because I said so. Fuck this bitch. Let's see what Kamala Harris is on about. Oh, she's talking about the waves of illegal immigration because she's the border czar, after all, like it says right here. Kamala Harris applauds Dem attorney generals for taking on pregnancy centers. Really tackling the important fucking points, now are you? Again, you're the vice president of the United States. You're supposed to be addressing problems that affect a lot of people. Some might say 330 million people. But again, what are you taking a look at? Fringe issues that only affect blue-haired whales and certain fucking blue enclaves who would never even come close to getting pregnant. Because A, they hate men so much, and cat semen can't impregnate a woman. Vice President Kamala Harris applauded Democrat attorney generals for taking on pregnancy centers within their states during a speech at the Democratic Attorney Generals Association conference on Thursday. Harris told a crowd of people she met with many Democrat attorney generals. So shouldn't they already know that? Because they'd all be in that room, and then they're just looking around. It's like, I haven't seen that bitch in years. Discussed the innovative strategies they have used to defend women's reproductive freedom. Who fucking cares? Reproductive freedom. How about just A, don't have sex, and if that's off the table, try one of the 29 other forms of fucking birth control available to a woman. How about that one? How about, here's one. Defend the reproductive freedom. Okay, cool. How about give women some responsibility? I can't do that. That's misogyny. Harris said, I'll spare everybody the little accent. You are taking on rightly the crisis pregnancy centers, launching public education campaigns because I don't think I have it here, but I'll show you all a map of the United States right now in terms of patchwork of different laws in different states on the issues of the confusing it and creating and need then. Oh god, she's such a fucking babbling cunt. For one of the most trusted elected officials to clarify the state of the law. Oh my god, just shut the fuck up, you word salad spinning bitch. The vice president also applauded the Democratic attorney generals for conveying attorneys to probe to provide pro bono services to ensure women can get reproductive health care. No, you're just trying to fast track a law in order to get federal recognition, okay? Because again, if you also take a look at the states across the nation, okay, that have either trigger laws, restrictions, or some sort of laws restricting access to abortion in effect right now or in going to be going into effect into the near future, it's only about half the states. And unless you're in the deepest, darkest parts of Alabama or Louisiana, it's not that far of a drive. And hey, most of these companies that these women are trying to get careers out of, like Starbucks and Tesla, they'll pay for you to get a trip anywhere you want, $4,000 fucking paid vacation to go get a suck and scrape. Woo, cool. However, while Vice President Harris, I can't believe we're still saying this, praised the attorney generals for taking on pregnancy resource centers, she conveniently failed to address radical pro-abortion protester violence and threats to these centers in recent months. Yes, yeah, there's plenty of articles out there. All you need to do is type in pregnancy center attacks and you'll have many a sight of graffiti, windows busted out, or just paint thrown on the front. Oh yeah, they're just wonderful people that are out there really fighting for a woman's right to choose. And I choose for those women to go and clean that shit up after they're done making a mess. But we got to go to the mother of all of them now, don't we? Hillary Clinton. And what's she out there doing? Well, demonizing the rest of the country. This time she's ratcheting up the conversation just a little bit. Hillary Clinton likens Trump supporters to Nazis. Yeah, she just decided to go full mask off on this one. Hillary Clinton offered a sharp rebuke of former President Donald Trump's most recent campaign event in Ohio, saying it reminded her of a Nazi rally. Oh my god, of course. I remember as a young student, yes, back in the 1800s, is that fucking memory in black and white? Trying to figure out how people get basically drawn in by Hitler. Oh my god! She's doing it again. She's doing the exact same thing. We can make the same argument about you, but we all know that you can't draw a crowd, and then when you don't, or when you do manage to have people in your orbit, you have to pay them to go there. But whatever, I'll let you finish. How did that happen? I'd watch newsreels and I'd see this guy standing up there ranting and raving and people shouting and raising their arms. I thought, what happened to these people? Clinton said Friday at the Texas Tribune Festival in Austin. Yes, I'm sure the dozens of people there were very amused by what she had to say. I saw the rally in Ohio the other night. Trump is there ranting and raving for more than an hour. Yeah, imagine that. Somebody standing and holding an audience for over an hour, something that you could never, ever, ever hope to be able to accomplish. It's just wild. It's wild. And you have these rows of young men and women and colored people as well, because no, they're just all white people. They're just all angry white men that are in the crowd. And again, you can go take a look at that speech and you can take a look at the rally, any one of the rallies, the thousands of people that turn up, all white people, all white men, all single incel white men. Just fucking come out and say it. But I'm sure nobody's probably wisened her up to the current lingo that's out there. She's still using the old Nazi slur because, of course, she hasn't updated any of her references. I thought, what's going on? Yeah, again, you take a look at that picture. Is that, yeah, right from the Ohio rally? Who's standing up right there? Oh, right. That's just one of those angry white men with tits. Interesting. Oh, what about down there? Oh, a woman? Oh, and a black guy. Oh, and another black guy right behind. Oh, okay. And a Hispanic guy right. Oh, yeah, no. Just a bunch of angry white guys, right? Clinton was alluding to the September 17th rally in Youngstown, Ohio for GOP Senate candidate J.D. Vance, which Trump attended. Video from the event shows a number of his supporters raising their arms with an index finger pointing upward. Yes, he was asking them to acknowledge him. That's a deep cut. Which some took reference to a salute associating the QAnon conspiracy. Who's doing that? The only time that I see Q brought up, oh my god, is whenever you get one of these fucking boomers out here, okay? Any of these fucking BlueAnon types, okay? They'll just continue to bring up something that has been dead and fucking buried since January 6th. For fuck's sakes. Nobody takes that shit seriously. Others wondered if they might be simply signaling number one to punctuate a point Trump made in his speech. I don't know, maybe you could listen to the speech in context and come to a proper conclusion on that. Or you could just wildly speculate and say it's basically the Roman salute. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we're on has only just begun, and it's time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation. Yeah, I'd imagine throwing up the number one probably would go along the lines of saying one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious American nation. Yeah, imagine that. saying, hey, take a look. The things around you probably pretty shit right now. I got solutions. They tended to work in the past, like recent past, like not that long ago, as opposed to this asshole who's currently in charge and he's kind of fucking everything up. A rep for Trump called the QAnon speculation a dopey conspiracy. Yeah, no, exactly. As usual, the media is working in hand with Democrats week before an election. Of course, yeah, exactly. Spokesman Taylor Budowich. Clinton has frequently derided the billionaire and his supporters, most famously calling them a basket of deplorables during the campaign. Exactly. One movement, one hope for America. You're just a basket of deplorables. So yeah, I don't know. Is this what Iran wants? You want this division? You want all of this hatred? You want all this fempowerment? You want this gynocentric social order on your doorstep? Yeah, be careful what you fucking wish for. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.